Hey world, welcome back to my channel, A K in the Life. My name is Keshia Waldron. I am an entrepreneur, author, Jane of many traits. um, but welcome back to my channel, A K in the Life, and I am here to do a review on season 14 of Married at First Sight. This would be episode 6. So stay tuned, grab your popcorn. You know, it's a work day, so I won't say grab your wine, but grab your juice and let's get ready. Okay, so on this episode of Married at First Sight, the couples are still on the honeymoon, and the honeymoon is winding down, where they have to return back to Boston to move into their apartments together. So I'm going to start off with the couple that I really do like, and the couple with the least action so far, and that would be Noi and Steve. So this week, you've seen Noi and Steve go out to, I believe it was like some type of waterfall, and Steve was teaching Noi how to float. She was scared, but he was there to help her out, and then they somehow got attacked by fishes. Like, fishes were, I don't know, biting them. I'm like, what type of fishes in the Puerto Rican waters? What type of fish they got in there? I'm like, the only fish that I know that bites are piranhas, and if that was the case, they wouldn't have toes. So I don't know what type of fish they have in those waters, child. But that kind of ended their, their little adventure. But it seemed like they had a lot of fun and they connected, and it was pretty close and pretty intimate. Like, I really do have high hopes for this couple, and I really believe that they can really make it through the long haul, as long as they're, open and they're good to each other, and they're willing to merge each other's lives and listen to each other and communicate properly, comprehend that communication. They should be pretty good. So I don't really have much feedback for Noi and Steve this week, and it may remain the same throughout the season. We'll see. So the next couple that I'm going to bring up will be Katina and Olajuwon. So this week we've seen them go on their adventure, which was horseback riding, and we see that didn't really go too well for Katina. We've seen that Olajuwon pretty much try to push her to get over her fears of horses. She did mention that she's never ridden a horse before. I really feel like, for the most part, Olajuwon is a high energy guy, and we know that he's been the life of the party type of guy. He's come from that type of atmosphere. So he's always motivated, ready to go, up and at 'em. And Katina is a little more precautious than Olajuwon is. And that can be their clash. Hello, sir. How are you? How art thou?
Did you call?
No. You want me to put it no?
Yeah.
Okay. You want to say hi to the people? Alright, let me, Okay, guys, sorry for the disturbance, but I'm back. And what I was saying is Olajuwon is a very high energy guy. He's always on go. That's just a part of his personality. And Katina is more cautious, I guess is the word that I would use. So she was scared of the horses, and Olajuwon is like, yeah, I'm ready for the adventure, I'm ready to go. And she's just like, slow down. And honestly, I understand that he's coming from a good place, and I do believe that he wants to motivate her. That's just a part of his personality. I just think he likes motivating people. But in that motivation, like, he was ignoring her needs and concerns in the moment, because he was more focused on her just getting the job done and completing it. Almost the same as how he was with her when they went to when they were in the gym. But, Katina wasn't feeling it. She was just like, you're not listening to me, pretty much. So I think that's something that Olajuwon needs to work on, just listening to his wife and appreciating her concerns, but also motivating her in a way where it's not like telling her what to do or forcing her or kind of bossing her around, but more so of making her feel safe and protected for her to actually want to try new things and succeed in it. So it's really about his approach. I honestly have already given my sentiments about how I feel about Olajuwon, but I do honestly and truly can say that I believe him and Katina are a good fit for each other. They may not need to be out here with anybody else but each other. So I really think that they can balance each other out, especially if Olajuwon matures as a person. I think Katina has a patience for him and she has an understanding for him. And I don't really think she judges him like that. At least she doesn't give off that she does. So, I just think they could be really good for each other. So, that's my feedback on them for now. We don't know. Maybe next week it might be something different. But for now, I'm going to ease up. Because, I've been a little harsh on Olajuwon with my last 3 reviews. I'm going to give him some grace this review. Because he didn't do anything too crazy this time. Okay, so the next couple that I am going to talk about is Mark and Lindsay. So we've seen this episode, Mark and Lindsay are back in each other's good graces because last episode, they had a big fight, a big blowout. So we see that they got back, which is good. In relationships, you're going to get on each other's nerves. You're going to say things that you can't take back, you're going to argue, you're going to fight. That's just a part of the nature of the beast of being in a relationship. But the best part of that is coming back together and working it out and being back good with each other. Who wants to stay mad? I don't. So we seen that the episode started off with them in bed together and Lindsay's like snuggling up under her husband. And things seemed to be good and they squashed whatever it was that they had going on, in the previous episode. And it looks like, I do believe that they did show a clip of them being in like the hotel's downstairs lobby, just talking to each other and blowing off whatever steam they had. So that's a good thing. And we see this episode that Mark's landlord, who is also supposed to be a mother figure to him, blowing up his phone while he's on the honeymoon. And at first I was just like, before they revealed what the reason that she was calling him for, I was like, this is looking a little sus, Mark. What's going on with you and your landlord? Why is she blowing up your phone knowing that you just got married and you're on your honeymoon? Is this more than you are alluding to it being between you two? But come to find out, she was blowing up his phone because the apartment had bed bugs. So, to be honest, she didn't have to call him for that. She could have texted him for that. And then I believe she, I don't know if she wanted to end his lease or charge him more. I wasn't sure exactly, but Lindsay got into protective mode for her man. She's like, don't worry, you can come with me. I'm going to take you in and I'm going to take care of you. And Mark was just, he got the mash, child. He was just looking like, I don't know about that. So, but what I will say is, I remember when they were sitting down, Mark and Lindsay, having a conversation about his whole housing situation. And I pay attention to body language. And he seemed very uncomfortable around Lindsay, like just sitting next to her. He just seemed uncomfortable. Like his body language was off to me. And it made me think, like, does he actually really like Lindsay or does he just tolerate Lindsay? Because at this point, I can't tell. Like, he'll say, in his I don't know what to call it. I don't know if it's a voiceover or like his solo moments, that he really likes her and she's great and all that. But when he sits down with her, I get something completely different in his body language. I don't know if it was just me. If you see what I see, tell me in the comments. Drop it down in the comments. Let me know, because I know I'm not crazy. I read body language, man. So, yeah, he just seemed really off to the side, cocked to the side. Like, I don't know. It just seemed like he wasn't really engaged with her. But he did mention that he's uncomfortable having someone take the reins and take care of him or handle things for him, which I understand, because as a man, he probably feels like that's his job. So it may be uncomfortable for him because he's not used to that, which I completely get. So hopefully what he was giving in his body language was just based upon the conversation that they were having, where she was just like, hey, you can move in with me. Don't worry about it. I got you. I'll take care of you, type of thing. Hopefully that's what it was. Because if it isn't, it's not a good sign. But yeah, it was good to see them back, like I said, back in each other's good graces, and Lindsay stepping in to make sure that he's good. And you know, that's what partnership is about. Like, hey, if I fall in lag, you got me. If you fall in lag, I got you. So yeah, it's all good. So the next couple that I'm going to move on to is Michael and Jasmina. Maybe I should have saved them for last, but I think Kristen and Alyssa are the fireworks of this season. So I'm going to save Alyssa and Chris for last. But Michael and Jasmina, we seen that they kind of did a similar activity. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me go back a little bit. So for Mark and Lindsay's activity, they did kite flying at this really beautiful place in Puerto Rico. I actually seen that place prior to me watching this episode, because I was planning on going to Puerto Rico, and I still am, before the year ends. And that, when I was doing my research, that was one of the places that popped up, and I was like, oh, that looks so cool, I want to do that. So yeah, they had pretty much a lot of fun doing their kite adventure. So let me go back to Michael and Jasmina. So Michael and Jasmina had a similar activity as Noi and Steve, where they did the whole waterfall scene. And to be honest with you, I have the same feedback for Michael and Jasmina. I feel like every single one of my my reviews, they just look awkward. They look, specifically Jasmina, she just does not look happy. She looks bothered. She looks annoyed. There was like space between them, distance. And I did mention that with Mark and Lindsay, so that I can tell on body language, and the body language that Jasmine was giving me was just one of apprehension. And the thing about it is, I noticed that Michael was the one that was putting in a little more work. He was talking, he was leading the conversation, and she was replying back, but it was pretty dry. Like, there was no connection. I do not see a romantic connection between them. And maybe their connection or their marriage had potential for that. It's still early, but the signs are not leading in a positive direction. It just seems like week after week is getting worse. And if you've seen the previews for next episode, it looks like it's going down that hill. But yeah, it was just, you could tell that she was bothered. I don't know if it was because of the previous episode where she said that he's disrespectful off camera, like he's a yeller. She doesn't like how he talks to her. I don't know if that was the case or that was the issue, that they didn't resolve what happened the last time, or what, but it just seems like she is slowly checking out or already checked out. And I kind of feel like she isn't fully checked out, but she's definitely on the verge of being checked out. And I feel like Michael is trying, but I do feel like his apprehensions and his carefulness and him trying not to mess up is what's making him mess up. and what's really putting a damper in their relationship so early on. They haven't even moved into the apartments yet, and they seem to be having a lot of issues. And like I said, in the next episode where we see them moving into the apartments and them getting into it once again, when Jasmina asked him if he's ever lived with a woman, he said no. And then she later on finds out that he does have a female roommate, which I won't touch on right now. I will touch on the next episode, because that's going to be a different conversation when we see it in its full context. But yeah, they just seem to be going down a slippery hill that's going downhill. So yeah, I mean, I wish the best for them, but I really don't see this going good. We don't know. Like, with the remaining episodes, things might turn around, but I really highly doubt it. Because I feel like if you're so checked out early on, it's really hard to reel somebody back in to get back on one accord and get back on the same page. So I don't know. Hopefully things change between them, but we shall see. Okay, so moving on to the last and final couple, which is Alyssa and Chris. I mean, to be honest with you guys, I'm going to keep it real with my audience. I really did not even feel like doing a review on Alyssa and Chris, because at this point, they're not a couple. They are just married. They're not a couple. And I'm over Alyssa's antics, to be honest with you. Like, I'm over it. I don't want to be that repetitive bird that just keeps singing the same song each review that I do about this non-couple. Alyssa just keeps showing her bare behind each episode. And I really do feel like she's coming off like she came on this show for clout. Like, she came on this show for an opportunity. I don't know if that's to promote her animal shelter or the one that she volunteers at, or what it is, or her being a social media influencer. I don't know what her angle or her motive or agenda is, but it was super clear this episode that she's on the show for something else. And I do believe, on the flip side of that, I believe if she got paired with someone that she was physically attracted to, she would have definitely have put in more effort, and really gave it a try while promoting whatever she's trying to promote. I just believe she's on the wrong show. This is not Temptation Island. This is not the one show on MTV for the exes. But if you're giving them that footage, you're giving them more ammo to show you in the light that you're showing up as. So Alyssa has no excuses as far as, oh, people are making me look bad. Chris is making me look bad. He's leading this conversation to make me look bad. You make yourself look bad. Every time you open your mouth, how you operate, how you treat people, you make yourself look bad. Excuse me. That is not Chris's doing. That is not his doing. Every time there's a real conversation that's supposed to be had, she doesn't want to talk about it. Or she walks off, or she doesn't want to talk about it on the camera. And then she says she wanted to talk about it off camera, according to Chris. She doesn't even talk about it off camera. It's just like, be a big girl, sweetie, and put on your big girl panties and just tell him to his face, I am not attracted to you. And this is why I am acting this way towards you. He has asked her so many questions to get down to the bottom of what's the problem, and she won't just tell him. You know why she won't tell him? Because she wants to stay in the show to get a free apartment for 8 weeks, or 6 weeks out of the 8 weeks, to get a free vacation to Puerto Rico. And no offense, but Puerto Rico is not an expensive place to travel to. It's not. And from my research, once you get there, you can do a lot of stuff for not a lot of money. So, I mean, sweetheart, it's not like you getting a vacation to Europe or, somewhere a little more expensive. where you really got to come out your pocket. So I don't understand why you couldn't, if you wanted to go on vacation, why you couldn't just go to Puerto Rico on your own. Or what? Like you want a free place to live? Do you have somewhere to live? Because that's what it's giving. It's giving what you're showing. But Chris finally spoke up when the group was all together and just expressed himself and said how he felt. And he feels like, he's trying and he's not getting what he wants, and he didn't sign up for the show to walk away with nothing without a marriage or a woman who's not even putting in an effort, pretty much, when he is. And I honestly believe that Chris needs to just cut his losses. And for me, he's more like, hey, I'm not going to quit until she says that she's completely out. And it's like, Chris, you're an intelligent dude. You've already shown us that. You're a smart guy. You're on top of your stuff. You're a stable guy. You have your life together from what we know about you. And I can't see why you cannot read between the lines that this woman does not like you. I can't see why you can't read between the lines that this woman may not want you because of how you look. You don't need her to give you closure. If you guys have an out, you should just walk away. Because clearly, Alyssa has had an out multiple times and she didn't take it, because we know that she wants a free vacation and free rent for 6 months. We know that about her. But with you, we know that you came in with better intentions and you were actually in for the process. We know that she's not. She's talking about she wants to split the time with him. What, girl? So you want to be on a show about marriage to change the rules and be in the apartment by yourself while he's at home in his house because you want free rent. Girl, bye. This is not the show for you. This is the wrong show. You are on the wrong show, my dear. You're on the wrong show. Okay? And then the scene when they were at the their activity was tennis. And the scene where they were playing tennis, and then, Chris wanted to sit down and talk to her and have a conversation. Of course, she deflected once again. Of course, she jumped around the question. She answered pretty much nothing. And then she gets annoyed and proceeds to get up and walk away. And Chris is talking to one of the producers. I think he was showing the producer something, like a building or something. He might have been talking about real estate. We don't know. He's a real estate agent. She's just like, oh, you see how he's wailing his hands? He's so aggressive. Like, girl, bye. You're trying to deflect that you are a terrible person with a terrible personality, talking about you a nice person. You are not a nice person. There's nothing nice about you. Nice people don't have to continue to remind people that they're nice. And keep in mind, how you treat people who you don't care nothing about says what type of character you have. A person that has nothing to offer me, how I treat them when they have nothing to offer me, shows more about the type of character that I have than anything else. I have nothing to gain from this person. And I know that I have nothing to gain from this person, but I'm still going to treat them well. I'm still going to treat them like a human being because they deserve that, especially if they did nothing to me for me to treat them any other way. Alyssa, your time on this show needs to end. And the experts, y'all need to, I know y'all may want the show to have the ratings, but it shouldn't be at the expense of anybody. Y'all know that this girl is on this show for a free ride, for free rent, and a free vacation that she could pay for herself because Puerto Rico is not expensive. But instead of intervening and getting her up off the show, you want to keep her on the show for ratings. Alyssa needs to go. Like, I don't know if there's a rule in Married at First Sight where they could get rid of you. I think in the contract, there is something that states, like, if it gets physical, like violence, abusive, or anything like that, then yes, they will step in and intervene. And but for me, I feel like this is emotional abuse. This may not be physical abuse, but what Alyssa is doing to Chris is emotional abuse for someone that she don't even know like that, and he don't even know like that. She needs to get off the show. Experts, where y'all at? What's the back call? What's the sign for y'all to come in, swoop in, and get this girl off the show? She does not deserve to be on Married at First Sight. You guys should be able to see her motive. I don't care how fake or nice she may have acted in the casting process. We now see her true colors. So get her up off the show. Get her up off the show. That's all I'm saying. That is all that I'm saying. And shout out to Lindsay too. At the group dinner where all the couples were gathered, Mark did mention that he was super proud of Lindsay for not popping off on Alyssa when Alyssa was like, don't do that when I'm speaking to you. So, I mean, if there was any moment for Lindsay to pop off, it was definitely that moment. But she chose not to. She chose to just eat her food, drink her drink, and not say too much of anything. Her facial expression said it all. But join me next time for another episode of Married at First Sight. We're going to get into some things because next episode looks spicy. So thank you guys for watching once again.